and make sure that the height of your seat is equal to the height of your hip. That way that when we're pedaling, we can reach full extension in our knee and our hip. So go ahead and hop on your bike. If you feel like you're reaching when you're pedaling, go ahead and lower that seat. And if you feel super bunched up when you're pedaling, go ahead and raise it a little bit. There should be a knob on the back of your bike that you can unscrew, hold, and adjust your seat however you like. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get ready for a great class today. Everybody go ahead and sit up nice and tall for me. Do a couple shoulder rolls back, hinging forward at the hips. We're going to find a light grip on our handlebars. There should be a slight bend in our elbows. Good. Go ahead and locate that red resistance knob for me. Turning this to the left is going to take your resistance off. Turning it to the right is going to add resistance, and pressing down on that is going to bring your flywheel to a stop. That's going to be our emergency stop knob. So if at any point you need to go get water, you need to go to the bathroom, or your flywheel gets a little too out of control, just go ahead and press down on that and dismount your bike safely. Good. For now, we're going to want to find a moderate work zone. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being there's no resistance on our wheel, we're kind of flying around like Mary Poppins in the sky. 10 being way too hard, almost like we can't pedal through. We're going to want to find that moderate 5 to where we feel like our flywheel is just making contact with the road. We should feel like we're putting in a little bit of work, but we could be doing it for a long, long time. Good. If you are on a Schwinn bike in the facility, you should have a center console in front of you. You can go ahead and press down on that, turning it on. What our center console tells us is our power and our RPMs. So our power is how much force we're exerting on the pedal, and our RPM is how fast we're going. If you don't have the screen on whatever bike you're on, that's completely okay. This is just another gauge of how hard we're working in class, but you don't need it. Good, and we're going to kick off stage 1 in about 2 minutes. And we're going to start with a seated standing combo. So for 30 seconds, we're going to be standing heavy. 30 seconds, we're going to be seated heavy. And we're going to be doing that for about 3 minutes. I believe 3 rounds. And then we'll go into a seated climb. But I am pretty excited. Pretty excited for a good class with you guys. For now, we've got about 1 minute and 45 seconds to just get ourselves ready. Go ahead and start creeping up that resistance a little bit, just to get our legs waking up before we move right into stage 1. Good. As we cycle, we're going to want to remember to stay with an engaged core, an open chest, and a flat back posture. Pedaling through the center of our foot, that's where we're going to get the majority of our power. So as we get tired, sometimes the first thing to go is our form. So just periodically during the class, do a body check to make sure you're with that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. Good. We have about 45 seconds left, so go ahead and creep up that resistance a little bit more. Good, and start to feel your legs putting in a little bit more work than they were in that warm-up. And we, again, are going to kick off stage 1 with that seated standing combo. We're going to start with 30 seconds of standing, so when we come up out of the saddle, it's important that we give a big turn on the resistance knob to combat the rest of our weight over the pedals. So make sure before you come up out of the saddle, you are doing that. And we are going to come up and stand in 3, 2, 1, giving that resistance knob a big turn to the right. As we find ourselves in this standing position, it's important that we keep the majority of our weight over the pedals, really focusing on that engaged core to stay lifted. Good, and we're 30 seconds standing, 30 seconds seated. Good, and we are down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds seated. Pedal through that same resistance you had when you were standing. We are in a seated heavy. Good. As the pedals feel really heavy underneath our feet, it might be helpful to focus on pulling our heel to our glute to make cycling a push-pull method. And we are back standing in 3, 2, 1. Good, 30 seconds standing. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down, 30 seconds seated. It should feel pretty heavy underneath our feet right now. We're starting to really feel our quads put in that work. Good, keep pushing. We are up in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds standing. Good. We are seated in 3, 2, 1. Good. In this seated heavy for 30 seconds. Good, almost there. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back. We got about 30 seconds to catch our breath and get some water before we go into our next drill. Good. Our next drill is going to be a seated climb. So we're going to simulate what it feels like to climb a mountain. So as we bike up a mountain, the closer we get to the top, the heavier it's going to be on our flywheel. So we're going to be periodically increasing our resistance. And we'll have about 5 resistance turns before the end of the song. It is important that we stay in tune with our body. So if it's telling us that we can't push as much as I'm telling you to, listen to your body. But go ahead and give a turn on the resistance knob. Right now, that's our first resistance turn. We've got 4 left. Good, this drill is a little over 3 minutes. We've got another resistance turn right here. We're doing quarter turns. If we want to use our imagination, we can pretend that we're climbing Kennesaw Mountain. And we'll get to do it in about 3 minutes, which is kind of cool. And you can tell all your friends that you did that. And they'll be super, super jealous. And then you can tell them to take my cycling class, and they can do it too. It could be fun. Good, our third resistance turn is right here. It should be starting to get pretty heavy underneath our feet, but we are keeping in mind that the closer you get to the top of the mountain, the heavier it's going to be, the more work we're going to need to put in. So with a little over 1 minute left, we're going to imagine something we really, really want at the top of that mountain, whether it be getting to the end of the week, whether it be a big bag of money, or whether it be seeing your dog or your cat when you get done with this class. Whatever it is that you want to cycle towards, just imagine that right now. Our fourth resistance turn is right here. We only have one more after this. Dig in deep because the song after this one is going to be our recovery song. Good, and our last resistance turn right here. We're pedaling it out for about 30 seconds. Good, really digging deep. Doing what we need to do to keep our legs moving. Almost there. Good, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, take that resistance back. We got 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Is ours. Taking this time to catch our breath, get some water and bring our heart rates down a little bit, but not too much. And get prepared for stage 2.
We are the champions, all the way to the top, never stop, no. We are the champions. We are the champions. We are the champions.
Good. While I have you guys here, I do want to say that we are back in live group fitness, meaning we are teaching them in person. We'll get to interact with you and actually see you rather than do it virtually. But we are offering classes such as Zumba, strength circuits, yoga, hip hop toning. But if you are interested in coming to that, go to mysportsrec.nsl.edu under that OwlFit tab, where you can see the classes that we're offering live, and you can reserve your spot. And you can actually take a group fitness class where us instructors can see you and interact with you and have a grand old time. But if you are going to do that, make sure you reserve your spot in the actual group fitness class itself, as well as a facility reservation. That way you can get into the facility and then get into the class. If you like my cycling classes, I teach strength on Wednesdays at 3:15. I hope to see all your lovely faces there, because I miss you guys. I do. But we've got a little under a minute left in our recovery, so go ahead and creep up that resistance a little bit as we get ready to go into stage 2. We're going to kick off stage 2 with a sprint song. And our sprints are going to be in 30-second increments. So we're going to get 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. We're going to be doing 4 sprints. So we are going to go ahead and get ready, get prepared, and move into our sprint song. Our first sprint, 30 seconds, is kicking off in 3, 2, 1. Focusing on getting our RPMs anywhere between 85 and 105. If you feel like your hips are super bouncy in the seat, go ahead and increase that resistance. We're working on speed, but we also want stability. Good, you're already halfway through this first sprint. Good, keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back, 30 seconds off. Whether or not you want to decrease that resistance while we have our 30-second recoveries is totally up to you. If you want that added challenge, you can keep it on and pedal through it. But if your body needs a break, take it back, but make sure you put it on before our next sprint. And our next sprint is in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds on. Again, focusing on stability and getting our RPMs anywhere between 105 and 85. Good. If we want to use our imagination, we can pretend that we're in a bike race. And we are in second place trying to catch up to that first place cycler. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back. 30 seconds off. 2 sprints done, 2 sprints left. Taking advantage of our 30 seconds off to take this time and get some water. Maybe you have a towel and you want to wipe your face. But for now, we are back on for another sprint in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds on. Good. If we're pretending we're in that bike race, we can pretend that we're just neck and neck with that person in first place. And we are about to pass them. We have 15 seconds left to do it. Good. Push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back. 30 seconds off. 1 sprint left. Good, getting geared up for that last sprint. We're draining the tank right here. We are on in 3, 2, 1. Our last sprint. Push through. If we're still in that bike race, we now see the finish line. We have passed that person in first place, but they are still trying to win. So we got to do what it takes to stay in the lead and cross that finish line strong. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back. Good. Taking advantage of this time. Our resistance is off. We are getting water and catching our breath before we move into our next work song. Our next work song is going to be a standing climb. It's about 4 minutes long. So the challenge within itself to stay standing the entire time is what we want to focus on. But I will give you options to increase your resistance as we go through. So go ahead and give a big turn to that resistance knob and come up out of the saddle. Good, making sure you have enough resistance to combat the weight over the pedals. We are still aiming for stability. So if we feel really out of control in this standing position, add some resistance. Good, focusing on that engaged core to stay lifted. And we are in this position for about 4 minutes. Good, if we pretended in our seated climb that we climbed Kennesaw Mountain, you can pretend this time that we're climbing Stone Mountain, or if you're feeling super ambitious today, you can take on Mount Everest and tell all your friends you did that in like 4 minutes, and then they'll be super, super jealous. And you can tell them to take my class. And our first resistance turn is right here. We are doing half turns. Good, and we only have 3 left after this one. So only 4 in total. We can also do what we did in our first climb, which is imagine something we really, really want at the top of that mountain. And every time we pedal towards it, it's just 1 step closer. So doing what you need to do to keep moving and to get whatever it is that you really, really, really want. Good, doing a body check right now to make sure we got that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. Pedaling to the center of our foot. We don't want our toes pointed directly to the ground or pointed up towards the sky. Good, we are a little under halfway through this song. Our second resistance turn is right here. Good, remember we're doing half turns. Good, really digging deep. After this drill, we only have one work song left. So we're getting to the point of class where it's okay to start emptying our tank and giving it everything we've got. Good, keep pushing. Our third resistance turn is right here. We should be getting really heavy under the feet. Maybe it's taking all of our strength to get through these strides. Do whatever you have to do to keep your legs moving. Good, keep pedaling. We've got 1 minute left. Our last resistance turn, right here. Take it if you can. Digging deep, remembering what brought us to class today, and using that to get us to the finish of it. Good, we got about 30 more seconds left standing. Keep pushing, we're almost there. Good. Good, and take that resistance back, take a seat. We're gonna take some time to get some water and catch our breath before we move into our final drill of class. Our final drill of class is gonna be 30-20-10. So we're gonna be cycling in 30 seconds of easy to moderate work. A little bit harder than we were at that warm-up and recovery level. Then for 20 seconds, we're gonna bump it up by turning that resistance up and getting those RPMs up. And then for that last 10 seconds, we're gonna wanna increase our resistance and find ourselves in a resisted sprint for that last 10 seconds. And we're gonna be doing 3 rounds of that. So we're gonna go ahead and kick that off. And we are in our 30 seconds of that easy to moderate work. We should be cycling on that 6 pace on a scale of 1 to 10. Good, getting ready to increase that resistance and speed up those RPMs in 3, 2, 1. Giving that resistance knob a turn to the right and kicking our legs into a little bit of a higher speed for 20 seconds. Good. Getting ready to increase our resistance and go into our 10-second weighted sprint in 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds of hard work. Good, it should be heavy and we should be moving our legs. 3, 2, 1, and 30 seconds of that moderate work. Good, taking advantage of this 30 seconds to recover from that 10-second bout of hard work. Good, getting ready to increase that resistance in 3, 2, 1. Increase that resistance. Good, we are in 20 seconds of harder work. before we get into our weighted sprint. Good, moving into our weighted sprint in 5, 4, 3, 2, increase that resistance and get your RPMs up. We are at 10 seconds of hard work. Halfway there. Push, push, 3, 2, 1, take it back. 30 seconds of easy to moderate work. This is our last round. Our last minute of class. Digging deep and really draining your tanks right here. Good, getting ready to increase that resistance and move into our 20 seconds in 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds of harder work. Using this time to get mentally prepared for our last 10-second resisted sprint, which we have in 3, 2, 1. Our last 10 seconds of class right here. Digging deep. Push. Push. 3, 2, 1, and take it back. Good. We are now in our cool down, taking this time to decrease our resistance and pedal to just catch our breath, bring our heart rate down, and grab some water. Good, we're gonna go ahead and kick off our on the bike stretches. So bringing our arm across our body, acting as if there's a magnetic repel between our shoulder and our ear. So bringing our shoulder down. Good. And release, same thing, bringing that other arm across our body and pushing our shoulder down like there's a magnetic repel with our ear. And release, we're going to take our fingers and lace them behind our back, opening up our chest. Good, lengthening those chest muscles, because when we cycle, they are pretty shortened. So we're just opening up our chest right now. Good, and release. Pressing down on that red knob, we're going to bring our flywheel to a stop and hop off the bike for our off the bike stretches. There should be a nice incline on the back of our bike. We're going to prop our toes up on that and hinge forward at the hips. We should feel this stretch in the back half of our lower leg. Good, if we want to get a little bit deeper in the stretch, we can bend at the knee and push forward at our hip. And we should feel this stretch a little bit deeper, a little bit closer to the bone. Good, and release, same thing with that other leg, propping our toe up on that incline and hinging forward at the hips first, before we can drop lower at that knee and push forward at the hips. We got to give our muscle a little bit of time to stretch first. Good, and if you want to get deeper in that, bending at that knee and pushing forward at our hip. Good. And release, finding that nice midpoint on our bike. We're going to prop our heel up on that. Keeping our hips square to the bike, we're gonna hinge forward and touch our toes. If we're super stretchy, feel free to place your heel on the seat of the bike. I, however, cannot do that because I am not a stretchy person. Good, and obviously the deeper you lean into the stretch, the deeper we're going to feel it. And relax, same thing on that other leg, propping our heel up, keeping our hips square to the bike, and touching our toe. We should feel this stretch in the upper back half of our leg, our hamstrings. Good, and release. Moving into our last stretch, we're going to grab our ankle, point our knee directly at the ground, and focusing on keeping our hips underneath us. We should feel this stretch in the upper front half of our leg, in our quads. Cycling is a very quad-dominant format, so it is important that we really focus on this stretch. And feel free to hang on to the bike for stability, because if I didn't, I know that I would fall down. And it would be recorded so that everyone can make fun of me, and I don't want that. So I'm going to hang on to the bike. Good, and switch legs, same thing, grabbing our ankle, pointing our knee directly at the ground, and keeping our hips underneath us. Good. And release. Thank you guys so much for coming. My name was Moochie. This was Cycle Express. I hope to see you guys next week.